Rachel Reeves strikes again, how the Chancellor plans to rob the UK blind. Before I get started, I have a favour to ask. If you enjoy the video, please give it a like, comment, and even consider subscribing. It all helps to grow our community. Thank you, and on to the video.
And there was a £22 billion black hole of a £22 billion black hole. A £22 billion black hole. It was a £22 billion black hole with a £22 billion black hole. £22 billion black hole.
She wants to blame the last Conservative government for tax rises and project cancellations she's been planning all along. And doing it this way, she makes the first major misstep of her time as Chancellor, because that great office of state depends more than any on trust. Yet in her first big moment, she breaks that trust with an utterly bogus attempt to hoodwink the public about the choices she has. Over 50 times in the election, they told us they had no plans to raise taxes. Now, in a U-turn that will forever shame this Labour government, she is laying the ground to break her word. And when she does, her first budget will become the biggest betrayal in history by a new Chancellor, and working families will never forgive her.
Rachel Reeves is at it again, preparing to unleash a budget so disastrous that even the economy's looking for an exit strategy. On October 30th, brace yourselves for a masterclass in financial mayhem as she tries to fill a fictional $25 billion black hole by squeezing every last drop from anyone daring to turn a profit. If you thought Labour couldn't make a bigger mess, just wait until Reeves is done shaking down the very people who keep this country ticking.
So let's talk about the future. Let's talk about, it's clear that taxes are going to have to rise. You're going to have to raise revenue, correct?
Look, I think that we will have to increase taxes in the budget, but we're
and
now
you're sticking to your. And let me just and you're sticking to your commitment of no rises in national insurance, income tax, or VAT. So presumably that means inheritance tax, pension reform, capital gains tax.
Her brilliant idea: jacking up capital gains tax to a staggering 39%. That's right. Because what could possibly go wrong with charging almost half of someone's gains? It's like Rachel wandered into a casino, placed all her chips on punish investment, and is now praying for a miracle. Investors, entrepreneurs, and anyone with a financial clue are already booking their one-way tickets out of the UK. If Reeves thinks this will boost the economy, she's got about as much economic savvy as a chocolate teapot. Even HMRC, whose entire job is to collect taxes, are raising eyebrows at this absurdity. They know full well that taxing people into oblivion won't make them stay. It'll make them vanish faster than a magician's rabbit. You see, Reeves has apparently skipped the part of economics where increasing taxes beyond a certain point leads to less revenue. The Laffer curve. Rachel must think it's a new TikTok dance move because she clearly doesn't understand its very basic principle. People won't stick around to get fleeced. And the lunacy doesn't end there. Reeves is also targeting private schools with a hefty VAT hike, presumably to rake in a few £1 billion. But in reality, all she's doing is forcing parents to yank their kids out of private education and flood the already overstretched state system. So instead of extra cash, the government will just have more students to pay for. Brilliant. It's like plugging one hole in a sinking ship by drilling 5 new ones. Oh, and let's not forget her cruel decision to cut the winter fuel allowance for pensioners. Yes, while she's busy playing the taxman's Robin Hood, but in reverse, she's leaving thousands of pensioners out in the cold. Literally. Sorry, Gran, no heating this winter. Rachel Reeves needs that cash for something far more important, like funding foreign adventures. It's almost impressive how tone-deaf this move is. Pensioners freezing in their homes while Reeves claims to stand for the vulnerable. You couldn't make it up. What we're witnessing here is a chancellor who seems utterly clueless about how economies work. Rachel Reeves is charging into this budget with all the subtlety of a wrecking ball swinging at the very pillars holding up the economy. Investors, the people who actually create jobs and growth, are being treated like walking ATMs. And when they're taxed into oblivion, don't be surprised when they relocate, taking their money and job opportunities with them. The joke, of course, is that all this tax hiking won't even work. Rachel Reeves seems convinced that cranking up CGT and punishing the rich will magically refill the Treasury's coffers. Spoiler alert, it won't. In fact, it'll have the opposite effect. Investors don't just sit around waiting for the government to rob them blind. They'll take their money elsewhere. Ireland, Switzerland, Dubai, they've all got plenty of space for investors who prefer not to be taxed out of existence. And while Reeves busily tinkers with these disastrous tax plans, the rest of us are left wondering, where's the actual solution? Rather than chasing after the wealthy with a pitchfork, how about focusing on things that might actually help the economy, like cutting wasteful spending or encouraging investment? Instead, Reeves is fixated on draining every last drop from the economy until there's nothing left but dry bones. The reality is simple. You can't tax your way out of an economic crisis. The harder you squeeze, the less you'll get. And right now, Rachel Reeves is about to squeeze the UK economy so hard that it might just pop. So buckle up, because when the dust settles after this budget, the only thing left standing might just be the nickname that sums it all up. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor who robbed the country blind while calling it a plan.